The Galactic Academy Xenobiology Lecture Hall was a marvel of engineering, designed to accommodate dozens of species simultaneously. Atmospheric zones separated the methane breathers from the oxygen users, while gravity plates adjusted for everything from the heavy worlders to the delicate crystalline collective. In the back row of Section 7B, Arya sat quietly, her datapad reflecting soft blue light across her unremarkable human features. She had learned in her 3 months at the academy that being unremarkable was a survival skill. Humans were new to the galactic community, barely a decade since first contact. They were the curiosity species, the ones everyone wanted to study but few wanted to befriend, too fragile for the warriors, too slow for the traders, too short-lived for the scholars. Arya had heard all the whispers. She kept her head down, took her notes, and tried not to draw attention. The cubs sat in the row ahead of her. They were Carvathi, apex predators from a death world that made Earth look like a vacation resort. Six-limbed, scaled, with ridge-lined backs and eyes that could track a heartbeat from across a room. Their homeworld boasted gravity twice Earth's standard, temperatures that swung from boiling to freezing within hours, and an evolutionary arms race that had produced some of the most efficient killers in known space. The lead cub, Rock, had a scar across his left eye ridge, a mark from his first hunt. He was the largest of the group, his scales a deep obsidian that seemed to drink in light. The others deferred to him instinctively. The Carvathi didn't enroll children in the academy. They sent their most promising young hunters to learn about the galaxy they would one day patrol as enforcers and protectors. Arya had never spoken to them. She wasn't sure they even knew she existed. Instructor Vexthor was a Xanthari, a species known for their intellectual superiority and their barely concealed contempt for lesser races. His crystalline exoskeleton refracted the lecture hall's lights into rainbow patterns as he stalked across the platform, his mandibles clicking with irritation. The human concept of pack bonding is a primitive evolutionary holdover, Vexthor announced, his translator rendering his words in clipped, precise tones. They form attachments to other species indiscriminately, a weakness that has no place in civilized society. Observe. The hollow screen behind him displayed images of humans with animals, dogs, cats, even Earth's great predators. The class murmured with amusement. Arya felt heat creep up her neck but kept her eyes on her datapad. This compulsion, Vexthor continued, extends even to irrational protection of beings that provide no reciprocal benefit, a failed survival mechanism in a species that barely survived its own world's challenges. Rock's tail twitched. Arya noticed because she had learned to notice predator body language. It was another survival skill. In fact, Vexthor said, turning his multifaceted eyes toward the back of the room, we have a perfect specimen to demonstrate this weakness. Human Arya, please stand. Arya's heart hammered. Every student in the hall turned to look at her. She stood slowly, her legs trembling. Tell the class, Vexthor said, his mandibles spreading in what might have been a smile, about your emotional support animal back on Earth, the creature you bonded with despite its complete lack of survival value. Arya's throat tightened. She had mentioned her elderly cat once in a casual conversation with another student, not realizing Vexthor had been listening. She was a companion. A domesticated predator, Vexthor interrupted. Useless for hunting, defense, or labor. Yet you humans waste resources on such creatures. This is why your species will never rise above third-tier status in the community. The cubs had gone very still. Arya noticed this too, though she didn't understand what it meant. Your emotional weakness, Vexthor pressed, moving closer to Arya's section, is a liability. In a true crisis, you would sacrifice mission integrity for sentiment. He was fast. Xanthari were ambush predators after all. His bladed forelimb shot out toward Arya's face, stopping just millimeters from her eye. She flinched back, a gasp escaping her lips. The room erupted. Rock moved first. One moment he was seated. The next he had vaulted over 3 rows of desks and placed himself between Arya and Vexthor, his lips pulled back to reveal rows of serrated teeth. His packmates followed instantly, forming a defensive semicircle around her position. Their claws extended, their pupils dilated, and a low, harmonic growl emerged from their throats, the sound Carvathi made before a killing strike. Stand down, Vexthor shrieked, his crystalline body flashing alarm colors. This was a demonstration of You threatened Pack, Rock snarled, his translator barely keeping pace with the intensity of his words. You raised weapon against Protected. Protected? She sits with us. She shares our space. She is Pack. Another cub, smaller but just as fierce, bared her teeth. You know Carvathi law, Instructor. Threat to Pack is threat to all. The lecture hall had gone silent. Students from a dozen species watched as 6 Carvathi cubs faced down a full-grown Zinthari professor in defense of a human they had never even spoken to. Arya stood frozen, her mind struggling to process what was happening. They were defending her. The apex predators, the Death World hunters, had claimed her as Pack. Vexthor's exoskeleton flushed with humiliation and anger. This is absurd. I never intended. Intent is irrelevant, Rock said flatly. Action is truth. You attacked. We defended. This is law. The standoff lasted another 5 heartbeats before Vexthor retreated, citing a need to report the cubs' insubordination to Academy authorities. The cubs didn't move until he left the hall entirely. Only then did Rock turn to face Arya. His eyes, which had been burning with predatory fury moments before, softened slightly. You sit with Pack now, he said simply. Not behind with. Arya found her voice, though it came out smaller than she intended. Thank you, but why? We watch, one of the other cubs said. You observe. You learn. You respect space. You do not fear, but you do not challenge. She tilted her head, an oddly human gesture. You understand Pack dynamics without being taught. This is rare. Rock's tail swished once, a gesture Arya was beginning to recognize as approval. Humans Pack bond, he said. Instructor was wrong. This is not weakness. This is strength we recognize. Carvathi also bond. We choose Pack carefully. His scarred eye ridge lifted slightly. We choose you. As Arya gathered her things and moved to sit among the cubs, among her new Pack, she felt something shift in her chest. The Academy had taught her to be invisible, to survive by not being noticed. But the Carvathi had seen her anyway. They had seen her, evaluated her, and decided she was worth defending. Later, as they walked together through the Academy corridors, other students moved aside, not from fear of the human, but from respect for the Pack she now belonged to. Arya sat quietly no more. She walked with hunters, and the galaxy took notice. In the end, Instructor Vexthor's demonstration had proven something. Just not what he intended. Human Pack bonding wasn't a weakness. It was contagious. And when a species that bonded with anything met a species that chose their bonds carefully, something remarkable emerged. They called it friendship. The galaxy would learn to call it formidable,